Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to take you through the process of, okay, as you can see the setup, we are working on a knitting machine. This is the knitting bed, and so many people have been asking how I go about some of my projects. Let me first get this. I am in the process of making those mesh sleeves that have been very popular lately. And it's summer, so it's a very great accessory for summer at the moment. So I am working my second sleeve, and I just thought I could just come on here and answer a few questions if you guys have any. And don't hesitate to ask any questions in case you need to ask anything. If you have something that you would like to know about these machines. So this is the mesh that I've created. This is the first sleeve. I just feel like it's quite short, but I think it's actually fine because I can put a finger through one of the mesh spaces and then I'll be able to just have it still around my wrist. And you can see the mesh pattern. This is the mesh pattern it has created. Yeah, so I'm going to create the second sleeve, just like this one. The upper bit is already created. I gambled a bit yesterday and I kind of got something really interesting. So after here, I'll do a few final touches around the base of the sleeves. I think I'll give it a knitted edge with hand knitting. So yeah, I think that's basically it. So let's get started on making our second sleeve. I hope the camera is positioned well. I have my yarn already threaded onto the knitting machine. Oh, good morning, good afternoon. Hi, everyone who has just joined. So yeah, just like crocheting, you start off with a slip knot. I think my camera is a bit too high. I don't know if this is the best angle for it, but let me just do this. Yeah, so I am going to just cast on using the EWRAP method. I'll be taking you through these steps in detail during the tutorials, I think. So the fact that I've already worked my first sleeve, I've already determined how many needles that I need for my second one because they have to be identical. So what I'm doing right now is casting on using the EWRAP method. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to just put my yarn through this. This is, I don't know, it's called a carriage. I think the knitting carriage. So I'll start my knitting. The first row is usually very hard because of the tension that I used during the cast on. So if you feel like your carriage is not moving smoothly, this is just for the first row. So I'll put my weights at this point. I think these weights will be enough. And now I'm going to start just 2 rows and then I'll start creating the mesh pattern. So I hope you can hear me clearly. I just received a call. I don't know if my audio is still working. So from here, I'm going to just start the transfers. So it's not as easy as you guys think. Some people may think you just sit back and then just push the carriage across and the designs are created. Some of these designs are created using handwork, just like I'm doing right now. They're not automatically created, so you have to go through a process and you create these designs all by yourself. Okay, so my very first row of mesh is created. I don't know. Let me just do a few rows and then I'll show you when this is quite long. But you can see, if you can see here, you can see the first row of mesh has been created. So I'm going to go ahead and keep doing the transfers. Okay. So look what we have, guys. You can see how the mesh pattern is being created. I'm trying to give you the best angle that I can. Let me just go ahead and do 5 rows of mesh, and then that will be long enough for you to actually get the better vision of what's going on. So the worst case scenario that can happen here is you losing your stitches when you're trying to transfer, because the moment you drop a stitch, if you don't catch it in time, that means it's going to distort the pattern and you may have to repeat all over again. It has happened to me on my first try, but I'm now more careful about what I'm doing. And you can see I'm moving from left to right while transferring. That creates a very beautiful effect, so that the mesh pattern is not like diagonal. So I have to move from left and then from right, then from left, from right, so that I can have a balanced garment or mesh pattern. So you can see it's a lot of work. It's not as easy as some people may think, unless if you have, what can I say? something that can transfer for you the stitches onto the next needle in one go. That's the only way you can achieve this faster. So you can see, I think I've lost a stitch. Thank God this happened on this live. And you can see what that has created. It has distorted the mesh pattern. And that means I have to go back all over again because there's no way to come back from this. I don't think I can figure it out to close up this big gap. So that's what may happen when you're working. I didn't see this. I think I may have dropped a stitch somewhere along the way, and this is something that can happen to anyone while using the knitting machine, and they have to go back from start. So you have to be really careful so that you don't drop any stitches. And yeah, so this has happened to me, and I hope it just doesn't happen to you, because this is something that's really frustrating, especially if you've made a very big garment and then something like this happens towards the end. That can be the worst case scenario. But for now, I don't feel bad about it. I just feel like I can go on from here and start afresh, because the piece was still quite small. So it's not something that's eating me up. So yeah, this is what I'm trying to achieve. The same exact mesh as I had for my first sleeve. So I'm going to just go back and repeat the same exact process, casting on and then start from scratch. And I hope this gave you some clarity and some insight of how the knitting machine works when it comes to the mesh pattern. There are different types of mesh patterns that you can create using the knitting machine, but this is one of them, and it's the one that I'm using for the sleeves. So let me just go off this live and continue to create my sleeve, because I'm going to start all over again. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in my next one. Bye.